Good evening. How are you doing? My name is Sarah Otieno. Thank you so much for tuning in to This Is the Day. We are live on Family TV, where we're keeping Jesus on the airwaves, and also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. Today, use the WhatsApp number 0786 316 316 and talk to us. SMS line 20316. Now, did you file your returns when it came to June this year? When everyone was filing their returns? Did you do it? If you did not, well, you might be in for a rude shock because there is some penalty that you might be forced to pay. And also sometimes it's just good to file our returns and be a good citizen. Why am I talking about this? Later on in the show, we will be talking about taxation in our country, what it really means, how it helps us as a country, and the penalties that come with not filing your returns. That is coming up much later, but for now we get it started. It is now official that the BBI signature collection exercise will officially be launched on Thursday by President Uhuru Kenyatta and his handshake partner Raila Odinga. Raila, the ODM boss, today announced that the signature collection drive is expected to be finalized latest next week. The BBI team is expected to collect 1 million signatures from Kenyans in preparation for a referendum. The supporting signatures are then taken to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, which will verify that the initiative is supported by at least 1 million registered voters.
Lead the country in launching the signing of the document or collection of signatures for the document. So there will be some leaders who will also sign that day. Thereafter, the copies are going to be sent to all counties and to constituencies and to wards. And we want this signature collection to be done as quickly as possible, so that by latest end of next week we'll have concluded that exercise. After that, the document will be presented to the Electoral Commission for verification of signatures and finally publication.
Well, the Health Principal Secretary Susan Mochache has denied reports that she gave instructions to KEMSA to purchase COVID-19 commodities that were worth 5.1 billion Kenya shillings. And during an appearance before the National Assembly Public Investment Committee, Mrs. Mochache dared the now suspended KEMSA officials to produce evidence that she had given the instructions. Mochache literally threw the now suspended KEMSA CEO under the bus when she accused him of bypassing her by writing directly to the National Treasury2 for 5 billion Kenya shillings to purchase the COVID emergency supplies. The PS further revealed that the country risked losing 2 billion shillings if the overpriced COVID supplies, now lying idle on the KEMSA warehouse, were sold at the market price.
We have presented this matter before the health committees of Senate and the National Assembly, and we'll be happy to come back here to make the very, very same presentation and allay that fear and allay that concern that we have lost any of the Jack Ma donations or any other. Chair, on the matter of my opinion, I think, Chair, really, we are all guided by the law. And what we all have a responsibility to do is to check whether whatever we do finds itself within the confines of the law. So, Chair, that would be my opinion on the matter. And in terms of how you procure, there is a law that also spells out very clearly how procurement should be undertaken, whether it's an emergency situation or ordinary times or complicated projects. All these things are within the law.
Well, the Eldoret Catholic Diocese Bishop Dominic Kimengich has told the government to get its priorities right and heighten on the war of coronavirus over that of the BBI process. He was speaking in Kilibwoni, Nandi County at a burial ceremony where the Bishop Kimengich regretted that COVID-19 was being given less attention, yet it was yet it was claiming more lives, and he says although the constitutional review is equally important, it is not urgent.
Tuwezi tu kuwa kwamba tunaangalia tu mambo ya BBI, tunasikia kuna pesa ya BBI, lakini kwamba kuna pesa ya kuwasaidia wale watu ambao wako na corona. Kwa hiyo priority it is upside down. Jambo la kwanza ni maisha ya wananchi, maisha ya raia, maisha ya kila mtu. Kwanza maisha, serikali hakikisha kwamba wale watu ambao wanaugua mambo ya corona kwanza wasaidiwe.
Well, and still in matters COVID, Kenya today has recorded 925 new cases of COVID-19, and this brings the total number of cases in our country to 71,729. Well, this is from a sample size of 5,559, now bringing the total number of cumulative tests that have been done so far to 798,585. In terms of recoveries, 1,018 patients have recovered from the virus, bringing the total number of recoveries to 74,262, and a total of 850 of these were from the home-based care program, while 168 recovered from different health facilities across the country. However, the country has also lost 15 more patients to the virus, and looking at the total number of people that have succumbed to COVID-19, we now stand at 1,302. Now, as these cases continue to rise, members of National Assembly today paid their tribute to the late Matungu Member of Parliament, Justus Murunga. They described the MP as kind-hearted and development conscious. The MP Murunga died on Saturday night in Mumias.
I have gone to his constituency twice. He has come to my constituency once, contributing very, very handsomely for the betterment of the Catholic churches.
He is what has been said, a very kind-hearted, humble man. On top of that, Mr. Speaker, he is a true African man.
And as a party, we are mourning him greatly. During the campaigns, I remember we used to traverse in the sugarcane farms looking for votes for him. But he has gone to rest. May I say, may his soul rest in eternal peace.
Mheshimiwa Murunga, Mr. Speaker, was one member who did not look at whether you are in ODM, ANC, Jubilee. He cut across all of us. He supported me as a woman rep in my affirmative action. He supported me on matters of widows, on matters of the youth, on the matters of those living with special needs. Surely we are going to miss him.
Is a man who loved his people, the people of Matungu, was very committed to the cause of uplifting the lives of the people of Matungu. And in return, Honorable Speaker, because I joined Honorable Murunga only towards the end of last month at Indangalasia in Matungu constituency for a church function, together with the Deputy President, and I witnessed that indeed the people of Matungu did love their Member of Parliament and paid him back the love and the commitment that he had.
Okay, there we have it. And looking at some of the cases and the people that have succumbed to COVID-19, it is now very clear that COVID is killing people in this second wave in our country. Well, today we have lost 15 people to COVID-19, and yesterday we also highlighted the story of Pastor Julian Kula. And today the Interfaith Council Chair, Archbishop Anthony Muheria, is now the latest religious leader to confirm having contracted COVID-19. In a message sent to fathers of Nyeri, Archbishop Muheria thanked everyone for their continued prayers as he is undergoing treatment at the Mater Hospital. He also appealed to Kenyans to be ambassadors of the guidelines and the protocols that were issued by the Ministry of Health to avert the spread of coronavirus. Well, looking at the pictures, this is actually what is happening. And right now we have Archbishop Anthony Muheria admitted at the Mater Hospital because of COVID-19. Remember the story of Pastor Julius Kula also yesterday when he said that, yes, indeed, COVID is real, and everyone, including Christians, we should all be vigilant to help prevent more spread of the virus. Well, right now... Kipchirchir Remy, thank you for tuning into the show today. Someone else is telling me, hello, Sarah, it has been a while, but it's good that I am tuned in today. Thank you so much. You didn't give me your name, but your number ends with 42. Asante sana for tuning into the show today. Now, well, earlier on when we started off this show, I asked you whether you had filed your return when it came to the end of June this year actually. Well, apparently we should be filing our returns every other year. Okay? And there are actually some businesses and some companies that should be doing that on a monthly basis. Sometimes we don't know this information. And when you end up not filing your return, could be that you do not know that you're supposed to be filing your return, even if it's the nil return. I catched up with Mr. Julius Yeager, who is the chief manager and the Chief Manager Taxpayer Services at KRA, just to ask him some questions, and this is what he had to say. So, Mr. Julius, thank you for making time to actually enlighten us about taxation in our country. And first of all, we want to understand the importance of paying taxes, because it reaches some point in our life where we must all contribute to the economy of our country through taxation. So basically, what is the importance of paying taxes?
Tax payment is very important. Thank you so much, Sarah, for giving me this opportunity this afternoon so that I can also be able to reach more Kenyans when it comes to matters tax.
Yes.
My name is Julius Yeager, as you have said from the beginning, and I'm in charge of taxpayer services at Kenya Revenue Authority. So what is the meaning of paying taxes, and why is it important? That all countries develop because they have their citizens paying taxes. So a country cannot develop until the citizens pay their tax. So tax is an obligation for everyone to pay to their national governments. So how is it very important for us as a country to have our people paying taxes? One, the government will be able to meet its objectives. Every government has the objectives that we would want to meet. For example, now we talk about the 4 agenda by the national government. For us to meet these, citizens must pay taxes.
Yes.
Okay? And something else which is important is that we want everyone to pay tax. That way, the tax burden is spread across to each and everyone. And everyone now has what I call a responsibility, and it becomes easier and lighter for everyone. So that is why we pay tax. For us to meet salaries for employees of government, for us to make roads, for us to have hospitals done, for us to pay everyone's services, the government must get money from taxes paid by the citizen. Yes.
All right. I like what you're saying. And yearly, as citizens, we are expected to be filing our returns. And it's just a couple of months ago since we last filed for this year. And now someone might say it's not important for me to file my returns, maybe because I'm unemployed, or even I do not have a salary that can be taxed. So I want us to talk about filing of these returns and the importance, and maybe the penalty that can come with the failing or skipping to file your returns.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You see, we have people who are employed by various institutions. So those ones, they have to file their return by end of June, 30th June of the following year. So, but it is important that they file their returns so that we are able to tell how many people are actually paying their taxes. At the same time, it is important to file your return not only about the employees, which is to do with P9, pay as you earn, but we also have filing of returns when it comes to items like what I would call VAT. You have to file your return. If you have that VAT obligation, you need to file your returns. Okay. We also have to file your returns when you have monthly rental income. That's why we are calling it MRI, for monthly rental income.
And we'll be expounding more on that in a couple of minutes.
Yes, we'll be expanding more on that. We also have to make sure that as people who are small traders, for example, they must also be able to submit their returns or file their return on a monthly basis. That is those who are on turnover tax. So when you are on TOT, or what we call the turnover tax, now you need also to file your returns on monthly basis. And we have what we call due dates. It is important that any time that you're filing your return, it is important to understand that you have what we call a due date. For example, those who are filing return for pay as you earn, it is on 9th of every month. That is a due date for pay as you earn. And there's a due date for VAT, which is the 20th day of the following month. Same to turnover tax. The due date is also 20th of the following month. So I need to explain here that if you are a business person and you've conducted business in the month of October, you need to file your turnover tax return by 20th of November. So 20th of November becomes a due date for any person who has conducted business in the month of October.
Oh, yes, I get your point.
Yes. Yeah, so, and now, what happens if you don't file your return on a due date? That is now what brings in what we are referring to as the penalties.
Okay.
You see, now that's how now penalty comes in. If you've not filed a return, then you must be fined. And this is in law. So that is how we now talk about penalties. Okay? So it is important to appreciate why we are asking for that. Because if you don't ask the citizenry to file their return, then how will you know that they have met their obligations? All right? So that is now what makes it clearer to the people that there's the due date. If you're in any business, you must have a due date of filing your return. Either it's VAT, pay as you earn, turnover tax, and several other tax sets that we have. Okay? And I'll need to explain that this is where sometimes we have challenges with the taxpayers. Because there are certain taxpayers who are not aware of their due dates. Yes, you say, for example, that you, Sarah, you want to start a small company. So you register that small company, you run into a given organization to have some business done. Then you say, for example, that you want to be given certain tax obligations. And I think it's clear that I clarify what exactly do we mean by tax obligation. If, for example, you have a small company, but the business that you want to conduct is going to earn you, or the figure that you expect to earn will be between 1 million and 50 million, then according to the Tax Amendment Act, that one you qualify for what we call turnover tax. So your obligation would be turnover tax. And if your turnover is more than 5 million and the service or the product that you are offering with your company is vatable, in other words, you will have to be given or added what we call VAT obligation, then you must also know that your company is not only paying turnover tax, it is also going to be paying VAT.
Okay.
So it is important that you understand that VAT and turnover tax due date both fall on 20th of the next month.
Wow, okay.
Now, if that company of yours has got employees, you've employed some people, and you are paying them salary, which is more than 24,000 per month, then your company must also ensure that your employees are deducted pay as you earn. And therefore, that small company of yours must submit or file the returns of pay as you earn.
Okay.
And pay as you earn, the due date is now not 20th. The due date is 9th of the following month.
9th.
Did you get that?
Yes.
9th,
There is
yes.
20th
When it is
and there is
10th.
9th.
And there's 9. Okay, are we together up to that point?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. What about Sarah, who is just an employee of a given organization? You must also be able to file your return. Now, that is why Sarah files a return from January to 30th. You only file once, but the due date is 30th of June of the next year. Okay?
Okay.
Now, so now, after that point, now I can now go to the third point where you are asking about the penalties. Yeah?
Yes.
Now, how penalties come in. We now understand that you'll be given tax obligation after having been recruited. And after being recruited, you are supposed to meet your obligation by paying taxes on the due dates. But what happens if you don't meet your due dates? Then penalties accrue. Are we together up to that point?
Yes.
Okay.
And in this case, when we're talking about the penalties, there is a point when
Yeah.
someone was told you will pay up to about 10,000 Kenya shillings. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yeah, you are right. Now, it is important to clarify that penalties are not the same depending on which tax obligation you have. So let me take you bit by bit when it comes to penalties and the figures that are involved. So the first one will be income tax individual return. Income tax individual return. Now, we are saying these are the returns which are filed by 30th of June of the following year.
Yes.
So failure to file and pay taxes due, here you'll be given a penalty. And the penalty here, we have what we call late filing, because you may file on 1st of July.
Yes, and that is late.
That is now late filing. You file on the 1st of July.
Yes.
That is now late filing.
Yes.
So late filing, you will have a penalty of 5% of tax due. 5% of tax due. So let's say that you are supposed to have paid 10,000 as your tax, but you file late. Then you will be charged 5% of that 10,000.
Okay.
Or 20,000, whichever is higher.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see, if you are to pay 5% of 10,000, that would be little money.
Yeah,
of
that
course,
would be 500 Kenya shillings.
That would be 500.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just in case that is not happening, then we'll fine you 20,000. Okay? And whichever is higher means for us we'll be asking you to pay the 20,000. Okay? Now, and late payment penalty 5% of tax due and an interest of 1% per month. I'll explain that. You see, you are supposed to have paid in June.
Yes.
But now you've paid in July. There's another penalty for late payment. And that is what we are now calling 1% per month. So maybe you come to pay in October. So every month we'll charge you 1% of the tax that you are supposed to have paid.
Okay. So the longer I check, the more amount of penalty I will pay.
Penalties will come. Okay? Good. Then that one was as far as an individual was concerned. What about company or partnership? You can have an organization that is a company, or you can have Sarah and sisters forming their small business. That is a partnership.
Yes.
So we are saying here, in that case, late filing of income tax company or partnership returns will attract a penalty also of 5% of the tax due. Sorry. Let me make a correction on the first one.
Yes.
The individual tax, it was not 20,000, it was 2,000.
Oh, 2,000.
Yeah, the individual tax. I say 20,000. That was a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah, the company is the one we are talking about. 20,000.
Okay. So an individual will pay up to 2,000, and
Yes,
then
that is the
a
tax
company
due.
will pay 20,000.
Yes, that's the penalty. It is 5% of the tax due or 20,000, whichever is higher.
Okay.
Yes. So let's say, for example, that your tax was supposed to have been $1 million as a company. 5% of $1 million, of course, is more than 20,000. So as KRA will be going for 5% of $1 million, we won't look for the 20,000.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah. But in the unlikely event that is lower, then we'll go for the 20,000.
Okay. I now
Are we
get
together
your
up to
point.
that point?
Yes, we are.
You now get my point?
Yes, I do.
Good.
And when we are talking about the penalties, maybe just to go a little bit faster because time is not on our side.
Yes.
Let us look at the effects that tax evasion has on the government, because we collect this money for the sake of our government's economy. So if I don't file my returns, if I don't pay my taxes, what effect does it have to the government?
It means the government does not have revenue. The government won't have the money that we are looking for. You see the case in point now, everybody is asking the government to provide money to have maybe our primary schools get masks, our primary school buys soap, they buy, have a distance in school. So if we don't pay taxes, and if we evade without paying taxes, the government will not get revenue to give us those services. The government cannot build more schools. The government will not give you masks. So that is why it is really serious and grave when somebody is conducting what I call tax evasion. It is actually a criminal activity. When you do that, we must say that it is not right, because that's why the government will not be able to ensure that all our citizens enjoy the services and goods that they deserve. Yes.
And
so it is important. Yes. Go ahead, Sarah.
Carry
it's
on.
all right.
Carry on, Mr. Julius.
Yeah. Yes, I was saying that when we are not able to pay our taxes, the government will not give us what I would call services that are common to the citizenry. People are not the same in terms of their income. We now have COVID-19. We would want everybody to be given same treatment in government hospitals. But if we don't pay taxes, if we evade taxes, then revenue will not reach the government. So tax evasion from the KRA perspective is actually a criminal offense.
Hii ni kama kuibia serikali.
Ni kama kuibia. And serikali in this case is even yourself, you are the government. You see, again, when people say unaibia serikali, it is not that serikali is some mountain seated somewhere. It is us. It is us who are forming the government. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you go to hospital and there are no drugs, you are actually stealing from yourself.
Okay. I like that perspective of yours. You're stealing from yourself. Because
you are stealing from
lack
yourself.
the services
that you need. It is you and I whose sister goes to a primary school that requires sanitizers. It is you and I whose child, let's say my child, would require services that if I don't pay tax, they will definitely suffer. So at that point in time, we shall be blaming the government, and yet it is me who has failed to pay the tax. So we appeal to all Kenyans to avoid what we call tax evasion. In fact, we are even requesting members of the public to report to us if you know of someone who is evading tax and is within the law. Yeah, you are allowed to report to us. And we'll not be able to tell people that it is Sarah who reported. No, there's a cover for that.
I almost asked you, sasa mimi nikikuja kushtaki and then the next minute ni mimi nafungwa.
No. No, we have what we call what I would call the law that protects the whistleblowers.
Yes.
We call them whistleblowers.
Okay.
So when you come and tell us that there's something, you think they are doing something which is leading to tax evasion, we'll be very happy And of course, we also have to facilitate you for doing what you've done. Yes.
Okay.
So it is within the law. Yeah.
Okay. And I believe these are maybe some of the measures that KRA has put in place to avoid tax evasion. And you talked about whistleblowers, maybe. Is there any penalty that I will get in court for not paying my tax?
Penalties, as I indicated to you earlier, they are there. Yeah, but I wanted to stress on the whistleblower thing. As a whistleblower, we have policies that inform a reward system. So as an informer, when you give us information, you are rewarded. Because we know when you give us that information, the government will get more revenue. Okay? And in this case, we are saying we'll pay you 5% of taxes recovered from the information that you've given to us. It's up to a maximum of 2 million. So, Sarah, if you know of someone who is evading paying tax, do we have a policy? Yeah, 2 million, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you report to us, we may end up getting billions and billions of money from that tax evasion. Yes.
Wow,
so that is important.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I'm being told time is not on our side, but I don't want to end this discussion just maybe in a couple of minutes, 2 minutes, Evie. Tell us about the monthly rental income.
Yeah, it is important that in our country, there's a lot of construction going on. Everybody would want to have some houses where, you see, like those of us who are in Nairobi, you may be staying in a house in Nairobi which is not yours. The owner of that house gets income from the rent that the people who stay in their houses, the tenants, pay.
Yes.
So when you are getting money from tenants, that is what we are referring to as your monthly rental income, the MRI. Okay? So we are saying that you need to be paying your monthly rental income.
And this comes from the landlords?
Yes. The landlords are the ones to pay, not the tenant. The landlord is the one to pay.
Yes.
So, and I'm not saying that you start doing what, but this is another bit that we are also asking Kenyans. We have so many people staying in rented houses, but we are yet to meet our obligation on that. Our targets. Our targets are still low. We need more information from tenants also, so that at the end of the day, rental income is met. And with respect to rental income, we charge, or you're supposed to pay 10% of your rental income that you get from your tenants. The total amount
that you get every
total
month?
Amount. Yes.
And this is paid
monthly? You're supposed to pay 10%. It's paid monthly.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. And it's paid. Thank you. It's paid monthly. And allow me to say briefly that you have a way of paying it either online, but at the same time, KRA has introduced what we call the M service. It's a mobile app, so you can pay through the mobile app. You don't have to come to Times Tower. You don't have to log into iTax. You can pay your monthly rental income using the mobile service. We call it M service.
M service. I love that. Just a yes or no, Mr. Julius.
Yeah.
After I have paid my tax, can I demand for services? Nikipita mahali, I see the roads are poor. If I go to a hospital and see that there's no medicine, and I have paid my taxes, my records are straight, am I allowed to demand for these services?
Yes, the citizens have an obligation to actually ask for services that they have paid for. You are within your right and legal arena to ask for the services that you've paid for. I know it is not the mandate of KRA to tell you that now go and demand for your services, because that is now under the terrain, or what I would call mandate of other institutions. But if you are a tax-paying citizen, you have got the right to demand for services from the government.
And where do I demand? To the police, to the KRA, ama niende kwa ofisi ya governor? Where do I go for this information?
In fact, now you're right. The governor's office is one of the offices that you can go and demand for your services. Because they have, you see, like the hospitals, which we fall under county governments. If you go there and you don't find services that you're looking for, you have a right to go to the office of the governor and say that I went here and we were not treated well. Why are we not getting the services that we are asking for?
Oh, wow. I like this. And I'm sure this is good information to every tax-paying Kenyan. Thank you, Mr. Julius.
Thank you. Appreciated, highly welcome, and we are very proud of your family TV. Thank you.
Asante sana. We are very grateful for that. Asante. Thank you so much for tuning in to the day. To This Is the Day. And after having that discussion about taxation in our country, I believe that it is an enlightenment and it has helped you answer some of the questions that you have. Now let's look at some of the international stories. And 2 presidents in Peru have stepped down in the past week, and a third one has been newly elected. Peru's Congress voted in legislator and engineer Francisco Sagasti as Peru's interim president to diffuse a political crisis ahead of the national election in April next year, and he is a member of the centric Maroda party. Manuela Merino, his predecessor, actually resigned as interim president after just 5 days in office because of ongoing protests following the impeachment of former President Martin Vizcarra. Vizcarra was widely popular with Peruvians but angered lawmakers for his anti-corruption measures.
2 presidents in Peru have stepped down in the past week, and a third was newly elected on Monday. Peru's Congress voted in legislator and engineer Francisco Sagasti as Peru's interim president to defuse a political crisis ahead of national elections in April. He is a member of the centrist Morado party.
Por nuestro país,
for our country, for the young, and for a better future for all Peruvians, I swear.
Y todos los peruanos.
Manuel Merino, his predecessor, resigned as interim president after just 5 days in office because of ongoing protests following the impeachment of former President Martin Vizcarra. Vizcarra was widely popular with Peruvians but angered lawmakers for his anti-corruption measures. In the wake of an economic recession brought on by the global health crisis, Sagasti pledged to move the country forward after taking office.
The pandemic hasn't stopped. The economic crisis hasn't stopped. The problem of insecurity has not stopped. This is a moment to amend and to decisively advance towards a better future for all Peruvians.
But protests have continued. Opinions are divided over Sagasti's potential to lead the country. Some congratulated him.
I think that Sagasti is someone that gives democratic guarantees that can get a transition towards a new government that will be adequate.
While others called for justice for those killed, injured, or are still missing.
But frankly, it's the same rubbish. The mask has changed, but everything is all the same.
Sagasti is set to complete the current government's term that ends in July 2021. General elections begin in early April.
Well, finally this evening, imagine this, not being able to do what you love doing and what you treasure so much because of a tragic accident that happens to you. Well, apparently this is the story of a girl by the name Manami Ito from Japan who always loved playing the violin, but this changed in 2004 at the age of 20 when she got into a very tragic accident and she lost her right arm. Now, for about 10 years, she could not play the violin and she fell into depression and she could not even leave her house. One day, her mom told her that, please, one day, just go back to playing the violin. Play the violin for me someday. Well, this statement was just so encouraging for this young lady, and 13 years later after having this accident, Manami actually was able to get a new lightweight prosthetic arm which is specially made to enable her play the violin once again. Listening to this beautiful story. Wow, wow, wow. Indeed, There is nothing that is permanent in our lives. You know, you might be going through a lot of problems and situations right now, and you feel like tomorrow is not going to be bright. Well, let me tell you, tomorrow is going to be brighter. There is no point of losing hope because, hey, God got our back. Ama namna gani? All right, thank you so much for tuning in to the show today. My name is Sarah Otieno. Have yourself a lovely night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
And more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.